true Southern flavor since 1947, and Conecuh is the official smoked sausage of the Crimson Tide. Order online at ConecuhSausage.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On Thursday's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we'll be joined by Alabama women's basketball senior Christabel Azuma.
I feel like as a team, when we had challenges, we faced them, but we also, the next game, we really improved and learned from our mistakes. And I feel like that's a very important thing to do as a team as a whole.
It certainly is. And a lot of that is thanks to leadership by upperclassmen like you, the coaching staff, who have been some of the vocal voices in the room, making sure this team stays on the same page.
I think a lot of our leaders too, Sarah Ashley Barker, she's really vocal. And I was like, dang, when I got here, I said, she's really vocal and loud, but she also wants us to succeed. So I feel like that's something that she hones on every single day at practice. And she kind of leads us as a whole. Carly, Aaliyah, Zay, they all speak up. G always talks. Oh my gosh, she's so funny. She always talks during practice, and it's amazing, really.
I'll have more in a moment.
David G's favorite shirt. Got Conecuh sausage and I'm firing it up. Yeah, everybody knows how I get my grill on. You can smell that flavor down the road. It's a little taste of heaven. Everybody knows. I get my grill on. Conecuh sausage. It's just a little taste of heaven.
Join us tomorrow for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, streaming live at 2 p.m. Central on all CTSN social media platforms at UA_CTSN. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Conecuh Sausage. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And there you go. It is a Wednesday morning. We're back. We're live. We're brand new. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, welcome in. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Wednesday. 56 degrees. There is a chance, there's a slight chance of rain coming up later today at some point, maybe they say. So just keep an eye out on that. Maybe we may have some rain in the Tennessee Valley, but be safe out there. It's 70 degrees. I know that. It's a Wednesday morning. Go ahead and talk for me.
Crazy. It's been
okay.
There
You are not.
Go.
Well, it's wired backwards.
That's all right.
You would think that would be mic 2, but it's not. It's mic 3.
It's mic 3. Gotcha.
Oh, you're shaking your head like you knew. Okay, because if you did, I'm going to be really mad. I'm like, come on now.
All right, man. Well, we're still getting on our feet here.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
You know,
we don't have a magic box to turn on today.
I know everybody was listening to Curmudgeon Drew yesterday with the brutal, the bar stools here, which we love, but they're brutal to sit on. We have new chairs courtesy of our resourceful producer, John Abrams.
Does your hiney feel better today?
Oh, 100%. Attaboy, John. Yesterday was brutal.
Oh, come on. It was 2 hours.
Stand up at one point in time.
It was 2 hours.
Back was hurting. Shoulder was hurting. Everything was hurting.
All right. Well, last
Not
night.
Like Jeff, after your last night.
Last night was another busy night for SEC basketball. Here's how it sounded the final seconds inside Neville Arena.
Yeah.
The lead never was in question for Auburn in the second half. Drive and a dunk off the left side by Jacob Frederick Cole. Final 16 seconds to go. The crowd wants 100. I think Auburn will just dribble this one away. Ashalik near the center circle. Final 8 seconds to go. Auburn about to go to 21-1 on the season. 9-0 in the SEC. No question about this one tonight. Auburn 98, Oklahoma 70.
Andy Bertram and the Auburn Sports Radio Network on the call there inside Neville Arena last night. And the number one team in the country does indeed get it done over Oklahoma, 98-70. Auburn blocks 11 shots in the win last night. They lead by 10 at the half. Dylan Cardwell would have 6 blocks, adding 8 points on 4 dunks. So that's a high shooting percentage for Dylan Cardwell last night. But Auburn gets it done. They hold Oklahoma to just 33.3% shooting, including 7 of 23 from behind the arc. So the defense came ready to play.
Well, and Denver Jones had his second straight really good shooting game, 3 for 3 from 3, 4 for 4 overall. Very efficient, 13 for him. Chad Baker, Mazzara, Jonah lead the way with 15 apiece. They also get our good friend Chaney Johnson, 4 for 6 from the floor, 8 rebounds, but 13 points off the bench. And when Auburn shoots like that, they shot over 50% from the field overall, and only 31% from 3, but they did make 8 of them. Only took 26. Just a really good performance for Auburn. And really, as you said, the story was defensively. They just clamped down on Oklahoma. This game was never really in doubt. Didn't really expect it to be, honestly. Oklahoma's not a great shooting team. They're defensive oriented under Porter Moser. Didn't think it was a great matchup for them inside Auburn Arena. And the Tigers continue their winning ways, 21-1 now. Best start in school history for the Tigers, and they continue to be unbeaten in SEC play. They're now 9-0 in the league.
They are
halfway home. So a great job by Auburn. And again, Oklahoma hung in a little bit in the first half, but again, I saw Oklahoma early in the year, their first SEC game in Tuscaloosa, and they just, they're kind of like Arkansas, where they're just not a really good shooting team. Now, on a given night, they can give you some problems. But this is a really good Auburn team, and who's got and Dylan Cardwell is really starting to pick it up too. And he's always been as steady as she goes. We'll talk to Bryan Mathews in the second hour, but just a really solid workman-like performance. And if Denver Jones, who's taken over as PG1, because JP Pegues out of the transfer portal wasn't that dude. I mean, he just wasn't very good. But luckily for Auburn, Denver's versatile enough to slide over, take over for him. And then you have a freshman like Todd Pettiford playing behind, Denver. Auburn is rolling.
So they picked up their 14th straight win. That ties for the 6th longest streak in program history and the 2nd longest active streak in the country. It was the longest winning streak since Auburn won 19 straight during the 2021-2022 season. And of the Tigers' 9 winning streaks over the last 14 games, all time, 4 have come in the last 8 seasons. They also won their 12th straight game inside Neville Arena, which is tied for the 9th longest active home court winning streak in the country. And since the 2017-2018, Auburn is 109-12 at home, and they remain the only undefeated team in SEC play, 9-0, Drew. It's the 3rd time in program history that they've won their first 9 SEC games, including a 10-0 start in 2022 and an 11-0 start in 1959. We all remember that 1959 season.
We actually don't. We weren't born. But, I mean, it was...
No, it's what they always say when it's back then.
But, I mean, the biggest key, though, is we know Oklahoma's best player is Jeremy Fears. He's likely to be a one-and-done lottery pick. He reclassified into he should be a senior in high school, but Auburn 1 for 8 they hold Fears to, 10 points. If that happens, Oklahoma doesn't have much of a shot, and that perimeter defense for Auburn was on point, no question about it. They did a great job of clamping down on OU, holding Oklahoma to 33% shooting overall, only 7 of 23 from 3. And then, of course, Auburn won the Battle of the Glass by 10. So Auburn dominated in every aspect.
Here's Bruce Pearl real fast.
I think they were a shot playing for a system too.
Well, we got some soul. Well, apparently that one there. Here is Bruce. This is Bruce. This is for real.
Just did such a great job. We had an advantage on the inside. I thought we obviously took a pretty good advantage of that. The big key is Oklahoma is one of the better fast breaking teams in the country. They only had 3 fast break points. So we did a great job of hurting them on the offensive glass and not getting ourselves beat too badly at all in transition. So I was really, really, really pleased with our effort and the fact that once again we continue to take every opponent seriously.
And there's Bruce Pearl. When the piano was playing,
Yeah.
his first words were Denver had another good shooting night. So
See, next time
got to make sure we get that out there.
when we talk to Chaney, we need to ask him if he plays the piano. That was pretty cool. You know,
We probably could get. I could text him right now.
Yeah.
And see if he's up.
It was that part. Did he have to make that happen? That was pretty cool.
I could text Chaney and say, "Are you up?
Yeah, are you up, dog?
We need you up."
We don't want to wake him up though. Then we might piss him off.
That would be the first time we've pissed off on this show.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know if we want to make him mad. I mean, then we'd make Bruce Pearl mad because
Chaney had a good night though last
Yeah.
night. He did. Chaney
he
had
did
another
4 of
good
6 on the
night.
floor, man. He had
Yes.
13 off the bench.
He did. He had another good night. Speaking of having a good night in the SEC, and
The Ole Miss Rebels, huh? They nearly got a hundy.
the Ole Miss Rebels
I
had
was hoping they would.
the Ole Miss Rebels had another fantastic night last night. They were playing at home, and I tell you, Kentucky goes out, they lose to Arkansas, and you can make excuses. You can say, well, you know what? Arkansas came in and they were ready for it, and yada, yada, yada. You can make all kinds of excuses for that
Right.
ball game if you're Kentucky. But the problem is Kentucky right now cannot guard anybody.
Oh,
Kentucky's
horrendous.
defensively challenged.
That's being
Arkansas
kind.
exposed it. Ole just ran over it again. 98-84 last night. They did come back to Kentucky, but at one point this thing was ugly.
I mean,
And there's a lot of glaring issues now with Mark Pope's Kentucky team defensively.
in year 3 with Keon Ellis and the J.D. Davison group, I thought Alabama was really bad defensively, and that was one of the reasons why they did not advance past the first round of the NCAA tournament and why they were so up and down as a team.
Yeah.
And then last year, for the majority of the year, I thought they weren't very good. Now we know they improved when they went on the Final Four run. Of course, you don't get to the Final Four without playing defense, but they were for much of the year a work in progress. But I'll just say this Kentucky team's worse than both of those. Because I'm just telling you, if they give up, in the 70s, you need to celebrate because they're just not very good. I mean,
they gave up 54 points in the first half last
at
night.
one time they were down 27. I mean, our good friend Jack Pilgrim, who does an outstanding job for Kentucky Sports Radio,
Yeah.
I had to watch their post game last night live from Oxford. They let them do it, a little 25-minute podcast from the floor of the pavilion. Let's just say they weren't very happy. I mean, they at one time they were down 27 points. I think that was the biggest deficit. And then I'm listening to the broadcast, and Jimmy Dykes, who's also been on this show, is doing the color, and they're acting like this is a game. I mean, because Kentucky cut it to 11. I'm like, fellas, this is not a 2-possession game. They're down 11. Oh, can they complete this amazing comeback? They're down 11, guys, with 3.5 minutes to go. And, of course, Ole Miss continued to make shots. I'm like, the only issue is Ole Miss going to get a hundy?
Right.
That's what I was thinking. I was
Well,
like,
they kind of laid up.
I said, there's no chance that Kentucky's coming all the way back unless Ole Miss had a meltdown like they did at the end of the Missouri game where they throw it away. But at one point, Scott, think about this. This is how bad defensively Kentucky is. I think there was about less than 5-6 minutes to go. Ole Miss had 22 assists and 1 turnover. 1 turnover. Kentucky can't even turn you over. I mean, you're dead in the water if you can't turn somebody over.
Ole Miss shot 54% last night from the floor.
Not surprised.
50. Now, Kentucky shot 50%. Kentucky was not bad. Kentucky shot 50%
They were
from
still
the floor.
good offensively. They
Right.
still are, but they just can't guard anybody. I mean, it's just – and I will say, during the time that I watched this game, Ole Miss made a lot of tough shots. I mean, the shot clock winding down, dude, takes a 3, contested, bang, or they take a fade away, bang. But still, when they had to, I watched Sean Padula, take a guy off the dribble. I think it was Jackson Robinson. He gets right to the rim. They can't guard anybody, man. They just can't. They're just not a good defensive team, especially without Lamont Butler. They were begging last night, begging Lamont and Kurt Krissa, Please come back. Please get healthy, because that's the only shot that Kentucky has to right the ship and then try to get there, because they are a good offensive team. There's no question about it. Mark Pope's a hell of an offensive coach, but this group of players that they have is just not good defensively. And without Lamont Butler, who's their best on-ball defender, they absolutely have no shot.
All right, so Kentucky with the loss falls to 4-5 in conference play. Ole Miss jets up to 6-4, and we said that going in. There's a potential that Kentucky and Vanderbilt could be tied at the end of the night in the conference standings,
and
that's exactly what happened.
Well, Vandy actually for most of this game,
Vandy covered. Vandy covered. It was like a 15.5-point spread. Vandy covered on the road.
Oklahoma did not. But anyway,
Vandy lost 86-75. Vandy covered.
Yeah, I mean, Vandy, it's just one of those things where I thought when just watching that game too, they hung in there. They made some big shots. They did a good job. And Walter Clayton wasn't playing for Florida, who is one of their two best players.
Right.
He wasn't in the lineup. But the Gators found a way to get it done. And I'll just say this. I don't know what the long-term prognosis for Walter Clayton is, but if he's not playing against Auburn, they ain't got much of a shot. I mean, I think the Gators are really good. If you ain't got him who can get you 30 on a given night, that's what it's going to take to have a chance against Auburn in Neville Arena.
And speaking of that game, as soon as the game last night ended with Oklahoma, several students left that game, turned around and started camping out for the Florida game already.
Oh, nice.
It's Wednesday.
Hell. I mean, the dang game's Saturday. You got 2 home games in a week. I mean, and it's a number 1 team in America. You can't blame these dudes. I got to find out if Grady Jeffers is out there. Jeffers' son.
Okay.
Maybe he's camping. I'll probably find that out later today.
I guess you set up the tent.
Yeah. Claim your spot.
And then you go to class still, but then you just come back to your tent.
Well, see, that's what I learned the trick, because there's a lot more people covering Alabama basketball in the last couple of years.
Right.
Now that the Final Fours happened, Nate Oates is consistently churning out SEC champions in the regular season, winning SEC tournaments. Used to be, 6, 7, 8 folk, and there was open seats in the press room. And not anymore, man. You'll have 1 or 2, 3, maybe opposing, like traveling, visiting media potentially, especially if you're playing Kentucky. But there's a lot more folks covering Alabama now. So what the trick is, you go in the media room before the game and you put your bag down on your seat, and then you go to your press row. So
okay.
You claim your seat first, so you'll actually have some place to sit.
So is that what you do with the tent then? You just put your tent out there?
That's the same concept.
You just put your tent out there so that you have a spot in line.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then you probably go back and forth a little bit, hang out some, then go get something to eat, hang out again, go get something to eat again, hang out, go study.
But I guess classes are virtual now anyway, right?
Probably.
So a lot of it's online, so you can probably just do your classes from
probably
your tent.
So. I mean, hellfire. I mean, what Dr. Dumbass told everybody to do.
Would you camp out for a ball game? Would you put a tent out there and camp out? If you were a student, would you do this for a basketball game?
I got to take a shower, man.
But you can go back to your dorm and take a shower.
Go and take a shower, yeah, maybe. But I'm sure as hell not sleeping out there in the damn cold and the dampness.
You would not sleep in a tent for a ball.
Hell no.
You would not do it. If Alabama was number 1, they have been. If they were number 1,
I got press credentials. I'm not sleeping in the snow.
No, you are a student. You would not be having press credentials.
I'm not sleeping in the snow and in the cold, man. What's going around?
You wouldn't get what?
Oh yeah, I did. I said it a little bit different. Hey, where's our have fun sign, man? Why didn't Steve put it in front of?
We need it. It does need it. Yeah, that better have come. That better have been moved.
Makes the place feel naked.
It came over with the move. I made sure of that.
Yeah, there you go, Johnny boy.
Naked.
Yeah.
All right. 7:18. I hate it when you feel naked. It's 7:18 on a Wednesday morning. Hey, ESPN is letting us know Luka Doncic was traded on Tuesday.
You think? I mean, he's actually been traded.
They keep letting us know this.
Did he take a dump this morning? I mean, wow. Hey, I think
he didn't sleep in a tent, I'll tell you that.
They haven't really talked about De'Aaron Fox going to the Spurs. You know, that
Right.
would happen too. I think he's actually making his debut tonight. I don't know when the two guys that are hurt are ever going to play. You know, AD, of course, Anthony Davis with the Mavs. So, I don't know.
7-8 on a Wednesday. Let's get our first break in. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
Here in North Alabama, barbecue is a part of what makes our home so special, and great barbecue from Lawler's makes it just that much better. Since 1978, Lawler's has been serving up their delicious barbecued pork, ribs, chicken, ham, and turkey for generations of family get-togethers. Recognized as the best barbecue joint in Alabama for 2 years in a row, Lawler's is thrilled to share their award-winning barbecue for your next family meal or catered event. Order online or stop by any one of their 14 area locations. Lawler's Barbecue, cooked slow, served fast.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan, the right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us online at bankoffrankewing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green, where they take the home loan to you and they make it all about you. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDI insured bank, as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
Listen to UAH Charger basketball all season long.
Into the free throw line. Chaney sends it out. Max Schultz. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back to Ball 723 on a Wednesday morning. 256-576-4977. That's how you can join the program. Let's visit with Richard real fast. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. Drew, got bad news for you. I don't know about Auburn, but at Shesheville, they had a table to sign in with your tent.
Yeah.
And they had they had monitors there that would go by and check to make sure you were there several times a day.
So you can't leave at all?
So you had to stay
Well,
there.
no, you go to class.
Oh.
Basically, they'd go by at like 10 at night to where, they'd make sure you were, you couldn't just, kind of save seats.
Oh,
so you couldn't just put your tent up, go to class, and then sleep in your dorm. You actually had to sleep in the tent.
You had to sleep in the snow.
There's no snow on the ground.
Well, I mean,
I was there for a game, and I went by and talked to the two young ladies. They had a table out.
Yeah.
And I went by and talked to the two young ladies at Shesheville, two students.
Yeah.
And it was all student run and organized. But I mean, people were hanging, and it was a nicer day too. I mean, it maybe like today, 50 or 60 degrees. Yeah, but they were, they said, oh yeah, we checked, 9 or 10 at night. I mean, you might could have slipped off at 1, but they made sure you weren't really just saving seats.
So the temperature in Auburn today is going to be 74, a high.
70.
Thursday is 74. Friday is 75.
Man.
The low tonight. So if you were camping outdoors tonight, Drew, down there in Auburn, your low would be 61 degrees or 59 degrees. Yeah. 59 degrees. You would
Pretty
not
mild,
be able to
pretty
sleep.
mild.
You could sleep outside in 59 degrees.
I already had somebody telling me that if it was the Duke in Alabama that I would camp no matter what. I don't know about that, man. But
I think you would. If you were a student and Duke was visiting Alabama, you would probably camp out for that
I
ball
gotta
game.
go take a shower at some point.
Yeah, they didn't say you couldn't take a shower because, I mean, you could leave and go to class, but they had a way to kind of sign in and they would go by and check. So you just couldn't put a tent up and go, Drew
that's
is
what you
here.
do.
They were making sure.
You go to class, you take a shower, you come back.
Yeah, they were just making sure you basically were a good fan and really, because it's a hot ticket to get into a Duke game and to be there. So they were just making sure you were dedicated. But I mean, they had a whole system set up and and organized, and you really could you couldn't really fake it very easily.
Right.
We've done a lot of things on this show. Should we try to do that? Should we try to set it up and camp out for a game for a couple nights?
I don't think so.
Maybe you guys can get like maybe you guys can get a motorhome sponsor and
now Scott's had that idea before.
I've done that.
Yeah,
I
have too. And boy, I was on an air mattress. It was brutal. It had a hole in it.
You guys can go do it, Tuscaloosa in a week and a half there when Auburn comes to town. So,
and then
out in Coleman Coliseum parking lot.
And then I just saw where they got cursed. Like everybody was making a big deal this weekend. Remember we talked about Dick Vitale, the great Dick Vitale.
Yep, coming back to Clemson Duke game.
That's I've had the honor of interviewing on this show.
Yeah,
and they're playing Clemson on the road. What happens? Clemson lays a turd at home and loses in 3 overtimes at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I went to bed after 2 last night. They were up 2 points with 20 seconds. I thought they might win. I went to bed on Clemson last night. I really didn't care who won, but I looked at it this morning while I was eating breakfast and saw they lost. So
yeah,
it's the ACC. It's the ACC.
Yep. Well, I mean, they were 10-1 in the ACC going into last night, yet unranked. So.
I mean, who isn't? I mean, I saw where actually Louisville lost to Tech, but I saw a prediction that they were predicting that Louisville wouldn't lose again.
Yeah, because Georgia Tech, Damon Stoudemire, they've got 2 big wins in a row. You just brought that up. They beat Louisville and Clemson back to back.
All right, Richard.
So we're gonna let Drew. We'll get Drew a tent and let him go out to Auburn. Then
I think we will. All right, Rick. Thanks for the phone call. Hey, something and a team we need to all start paying attention to. Rick Pitino has St. John's rolling, baby.
But we were told we hate Rick Pitino and don't think he's a great coach. That's never what I said. I actually have the book Full Court Pressure, And
they got a win
he
last night over 11th ranked Marquette.
That Alabama was good enough during that time to win the national championship, though they did not. I love Rick Pitino. He's one of the great coaches of his era.
They are 20-3, 11-1 in the Big East, ranked number 12 in the country. They got a 70-64 win last night over 11th ranked Marquette.
Yeah, and the thing is, I get into arguments because they always try to say, well, he couldn't coach in the NBA. I know the Celtics thing went bad because he thought they were going to get Tim Duncan, which they did not.
Right.
They ended up with Chauncey Billups and Ron Mercer. But I thought he actually did a solid job with the Knicks, but he left for Kentucky because he felt like Nick Saban, he was a better fit in the college game, and you don't get a chance to coach Kentucky very often.
Right.
C.M. Newton recruited him, and he revitalized the UK program and built basically he won the national championship with one of the greatest teams of all time in 96, and then 97 lost to Arizona in a heartbreaking final, the only one back-to-back. And then he left Tubby Smith, a national championship team in 98.
Oh, he left them, yeah.
I mean, just players everywhere.
He left them like and Tubby Smith inherited a program like Larry Coker inherited a Miami program.
And I don't care what happened at Louisville. He didn't keep him. He didn't. I guess he didn't supervise his assistant coaches enough, but still, he won a national championship. I don't care if they vacated it; he still won.
That's your favorite thing in college athletics, isn't it? Vacation.
Stupid. I mean, it's not a vacation; they call it vacating. Everybody know who won. Come on, man! It's a stupid rule.
Let's visit with Bryce, shall we? On the phone lines. Good morning, Bryce.
What's up, Bryce?
Gentlemen, I bet you boy won't call in today. He
didn't call in yesterday either. I'm sure.
He called in Monday.
He did. He called in Monday.
I listened to him. I was right after him. He won't call in today. But guys, I don't know how. I talked to one of my Red Elephant clubs. I don't know if I told you about this.
Okay.
But you know what the rumor is that Auburn, if Freeze doesn't make it this year, who they're going after?
Oh Lord, I can't wait to hear this. Go ahead.
You're not even going to guess or anything, Drew? You want me to tell you?
No, just tell us.
Oh, you know how they are. They want somebody that has beaten Alabama. They're going at the start, but they can't.
Oh,
They're
Lord.
so stupid down there.
Sarkeesian?
Yes.
Never happened, man. Come on.
I love rumor boards because they're all full.
He wouldn't take the Alabama job, or basically, if his wife.
He just got an extension at Texas too, I believe.
He basically took his name out of consideration. I don't think he wouldn't have been. Even if he had shown interest, I don't think he gets chosen over DeBoer, but he would have been definitely heavily in the mix. But he took himself out. But yet he'd go to Auburn. I don't see that now. I mean, Auburn's a really good job, but I don't see unless Sark underachieves this year. He's feeling a little heat and he decides to bail out, but I don't see
He's
that.
He's got things going in the direction at Texas.
If Rhett Lashley keeps winning at SMU, I'd watch him because he got to the college football playoff and got whacked, but he still got into the postseason and he had a lot of
with Auburn ties.
Gus Malzahn.
Yeah.
He would be crazy to even think about going to Auburn. Rhett Lashley would, because he's got unlimited source at SMU. They got deep pockets. And he wouldn't have no pressure where he's at. If he goes to Auburn, he'll be in a pressure cook, and he has to compete against Alabama. He's smarter than that.
Well, I think he has done a really good job at SMU, even though I don't think they deserve to be in. I don't think he deserved to be in the playoff this year, but he's done a great job, no question about it.
He has done a great job. But it's funny. But this is Auburn I'm talking about, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
They're real delusional down there.
Well,
they want anybody that can beat Alabama. So when I heard that, I said they're crazier than a run over dog if they think they're going to get start. There's only one way start would have come to Alabama. Coach Saban would have got on the phone and said, "Hey, I need you to come and take over the program."
Well, there's Alabama fans. There's Alabama fans too that weren't happy with Kalen DeBoer after his first year too.
Yeah, well, you know who they want, and he's beat him 3 times. They want the guy from Oregon, but DeBoer's beat him 3 times. I think we're going to be just fine with our offensive coordinator. I'm really pumped up about this. I'm sure y'all are too, about him coming in and taking over the program. And way I look at this, guys, if something happens and he leaves, at least the other coordinator, I'm trying to think of his name. I drew a blank. last Sheridan.
You talking
He'll
about?
get some coaching, and he'll be able to learn under Grubbs, and he'll be better, when the next time around if he gets promoted.
You talking about Nick Sheridan?
Yeah, he's talking about Nick Sheridan.
Yeah, yeah, Nick Sheridan.
Yeah.
He'll learn under him, but at Alabama we don't have time to be training an offensive coordinator. But if Sheridan wants to stay there, which I'm glad he did, I'll blame it on Sheridan. I blame it on we didn't have a quarterback for that system, and we had to make do what we had. And that's where I'm at with that deal.
All right, Bryce. Thanks for the phone call.
Y'all letting me talk, but I just had to share that rumor. But it's just delusional in Auburn.
Yeah,
they think they can get anybody. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bryce.
Thank you.
Rumors are rumors. That's an interesting. But I tell you what, to Bryce's point, we get a break in. The Athletic kind of did something on Bryce's line of thought just a little bit there. When we come back, we'll fill you in. It kind of all ties into what he was saying. Not really, but kind of. We'll explain it all when we return.
I said these chairs were really rocking.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not a bad Wednesday across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. We are going to be talking about a mostly cloudy to overcast sky, but temperatures are still going to be on the warmer end of the spectrum. We're climbing into the mid and upper 60s. A couple of folks probably going to climb into the lower 70s. There is an opportunity for some scattered showers through a good chunk of the afternoon. We might even throw in the opportunity for a couple of thunderstorms across the Tennessee Valley. None of the thunderstorm activity would be severe. Definitely a little bit of good news there. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a couple of wrecks we're trying to clear. One on Charlie Patterson, north of Oscar Patterson's, no injury. We had one in Morgan County, Union Hill near West Point. Had a vehicle hit a deer there. No injury reported in the vehicle. Officers, construction workers, and first responders are putting their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Super Bowl 59 is on Westwood One. The Eagles headed to New Orleans. Now the Chiefs are on the doorstep of history, going for a third consecutive Super Bowl. Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Grant. Join Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner, Laura Oakman, Gene Steratore, Devin McCourty, and me for all the action right here.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Howdy, folks. Bob Baumhauer here. Whether you're planning a tailgate party at the game, cheering for your favorite teams at home, or at your local Baumhauers with your family and friends, we're here to make your football party legendary with our party-ready tray selections. From our always fresh buttermilk fried chicken tenders to the homemade Nana's chicken salad, and of course, our fresh, never frozen, award-winning buffalo-style chicken wings. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
This is Steve Moulton from 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and this is What's Happening. Be sure and download our app. Just search 977 ESPN in your Google Marketplace or your Apple Store, depending on your device, so you can take us wherever you might go. And you can also check out our latest zone deals. Head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. The top left banner reads, "Savings never tasted so good." Click on that, then enter in the Big Zone Deal store for half-off zone deals of Lawler's Barbecue, Sea Salt, Carrabba's Italian Grill, Bubby's Diner, Corlejos Mexican Grill, Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, Divergence, Full Moon Barbecue, Bigfoot Little Donuts, Apple Lane Farms, the Decatur location, an overnight stay at Gunnersville State Park, and rounds of golf at Cherokee Ridge Golf Course and Gunter's Landing. And that's what's happening.
Buckhorn Youth Sports was created in 2018 to provide kids in our community the ability to compete at every sport possible. We offer football, flag and tackle, cheer, volleyball, wrestling, basketball, baseball, and softball. You can find us on Facebook at Buckhorn Youth Sports, where we prepare the future. Buckhorn Youth Sports is a proud supporter of Buckhorn High School football. Go Bucks!
Covering Alabama, Auburn, and the Southeastern Conference is a year-round job.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Don't worry, we've got you covered on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome back in on a Wednesday morning. So Bryce was on the phone a minute ago, and he was talking about, well, Hugh Freeze and this whole rumor mill going around. It's all rumors, but so the Athletic put out a thing, and it's basically because the transfer portal window now is closed for the winter, and everything, and so where do SEC programs stand right now after the transfer window is closed as far as talent, expectations, and they listed categories, and they lumped teams into a rising category, a neutral category, and they put teams then in a falling category. So there's 3 different categories.
Yeah.
They put Alabama, Auburn, LSU, and South Carolina, all of those teams in the rising category because, and they put Alabama in the category because they return, and I did not realize this was the number. They return 15 starters.
10 on D.
6 on offense, and they list 9 on defense.
Some say 10, but yeah.
But that is a huge number for Kalen DeBoer to work with in year number 2. And I get it. Ryan Grubb's coming in, and Alabama fans feel like they've won the lottery by getting Ryan Grubb now as the offensive coordinator. The one thing I will say with Bryce's call, and he said that Nick Sheridan needs to learn and be all that other stuff. I don't think Nick Sheridan did a horrible job.
I don't either. I think he had Ebby Calvin LaLoosh at quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that is a huge number. 15 starters back on the sides of the ball for Alabama. That's a big number.
It is, no question about it. And, they've got a chance if they can figure quarterback out to, I think, improve dramatically. You've got your top 2 receivers back in Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard, who both had really solid years. You got a guy like Josh Cuevas, who I think is underrated, an H-back who will probably be utilized more in the offense with a quarterback that can actually make reads and go through progressions and throw the ball, hopefully with anticipation and touching on time. So he's got a chance to I think do a really nice job. Remember, they got Isaiah Horton out of the transfer portal from Miami. He was very productive, under Mario Cristobal this past year. No question about that. And so I just think overall you look at that, and then you Rico Scott, another young receiver who should have a bigger role, and the potential return of Jalen Hale. I think the passing game for Alabama, with a different trigger man and hopefully someone that's a better fit for the offense, they could take a leap, no question about it. And if the passing game is more efficient and can make big plays, then I think the running game, which will look more traditional, certainly I think Ty Simpson or Keelan Russell or even Austin Mack, even though I think Mack is a good athlete. He's not quite as good an athlete as the other 2, but I think you'll see the quarterback be able to improvise and potentially make some plays with their feet. But I don't think you'll see nearly as many called quarterback runs as you saw this year, because that was a way to get Milroe in rhythm and get him going. And I think it'll be a more traditional passing attack and a more traditional running game, and it'll look like what you saw at Washington under Kalen DeBoer, which, to be honest with you, I never thought that it looked like that this year, because there was so much the quarterback was such a central figure in the running game.
All right. If I don't know, in my mind, I'm thinking if Ryan Grubb was calling plays this year, what the offense would have looked
they would have
like.
done. They would have had the exact same, in my opinion,
structure type
because
of
and kind
calling.
of scheme and what they would have tried to do. Because again, Milroe is an outstanding athlete. He has 4.4 speed. He has the ability to be a home run hitter in the running game. You had to use his mobility, and plus, if you didn't, we all saw he's not a consistent passer. You've got to get him in a rhythm. I always felt like if he ran the ball well early, and you could get him maybe the first, and they always talked about the script, maybe the first drive or two, he gets into a rhythm with the passing game, then that's always a way for him to be successful. But if he started slow, especially if he turned it over early, we saw the ReliaQuest Bowl, he could come out and dig you a 3-score hole because, one, he's not throwing the ball on time with anticipation and accuracy, and two, they took his legs away, and then he just turns into a turnover machine. But, he had the worst pocket presence of anybody I've ever seen. He wouldn't climb the pocket. Look, we were all vindicated at the Senior Bowl. He was terrible. Okay. We're not sugarcoat it. We're not going to sugarcoat it. I could have used another word, but thank you for that.
Yes.
We're not going to sit there and BS people.
Right.
He was bad. To be honest, I thought he was so bad during the week, he shouldn't be picked before the 4th round. I think he should be a 3rd-day draft pick. He is that raw as a quarterback. To me, he's a developmental guy that you draft and you sit and you try to get him better and you try to coach him up. I know there's not a lot of that done in the NFL anymore, unfortunately, but we've
heard people say that.
I just don't think he's worth drafting. Draft picks are considered very valuable, especially you're talking a 1st, 2nd, 3rd round pick. I heard John and them talking about John discovered football basically when he was 8 years old, reading about Brett Favre. It made me feel like an old man, but that's what he said. And he said, he was traded for a 3rd round pick, and you start thinking about that. But NFL folks think a 3rd round pick is valuable. They traded a 3rd round pick for Brett Favre. Now, was it Brett Favre near the end of his career? Yes, but Brett Favre, he went to the Jets. When you go to the Jets, it's just purgatory, okay? So he did not have a great year with the Jets. We knew, but he did have a great year with the next year with the Vikings. He did. So he could still play. So a 3rd round pick, 1st, 2nd, 3rd round picks are very valuable. To me, you don't pick Jalen Milroe until maybe the 4th, 5th round.
All right. There's an article in CBS Sports, and I'm going to read this first sentence to you. Chris Trapazzo.
Okay.
I'm going to read this sentence to you. At the start of the 2025 pre-draft process, I believe, this is his words, Milroe is uniquely positioned to be a 1st-round pick in April. He says, allow me to outline the multiple layered case for the Alabama quarterback to, despite his shortcomings, still to be a 1st-round selection in the draft. He says, 1, lacking strength in the quarterback class.
That is true.
Avoiding recency bias. The trend is drafting a reasonably raw but uber talented quarterback has seemingly come to a screeching halt, mostly because of what we witnessed with Anthony Richardson in year 2. But he says before Richardson was picked by the Colts, every quarterback needy team was attempting to discover that exact type of passer, mostly because of what we witnessed with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts. So he said, basically, don't buy what you saw with Anthony Richardson. Teams have been doing that for a while now.
Patrick Mahomes was not Jalen Milroe in college. Now, did he win in that many games? No, he did not. But he threw for a bazillion yards, Scott. And then in the pre-draft process, he blew everybody away with how he did, did things. Now, Jalen Hurts, I can see that comparison because there was a lot of thought before the pre-draft process started that he would be a 4th or a 5th round pick, but the Eagles fell in love with him. And so that theory could happen. Somebody could fall in love with Jalen Milroe, but I'll just say this. I don't remember Jalen Hurts in, whatever opportunities he had during workouts and Senior Bowl type, atmospheres looking as bad as Jalen Milroe did. He looked horrible. Okay. I don't think you can look past that. And then a lot of times it's, what have you done for me lately? His last college game was a turd. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah.
These are second and third string guys against Michigan. He's got a first down inside the 15-yard line, and they don't even come close to scoring. I mean, Michigan's got two guys on the defensive line. They're likely going to be first-round picks. One might be a second round. I'm saying might be, but he's probably going to go in the first round. And they still whipped Alabama because the quarterback was awful.
Let's get Ray in real fast on the phone lines. Morning, Ray.
Morning, Ray.
What do you say, fellas?
What's up?
Interesting point, and I'm just going to really surmise it. Jalen Milroe is not Anthony Richardson. He's Tim Tebow with 4.4 speed.
Well, you could make that comparison.
Wow.
Except Tebow was a lot more productive at times, but and more consistent. But I see where you're saying, because he was not a prototypical QB. Didn't have great mechanics. He wasn't considered a pure passer. I can understand what you're saying.
There is nobody who looked at Tim Tebow in the pre-draft process and said, first rounder, absolutely.
Yeah.
It only takes one team.
It does.
That's my point. The way these NFL executives think.
Yeah.
One person is sitting in a room saying, I believe Jalen Milroe can do it. And if they say that, they're convinced. You can't change their mind.
Oh, Lord.
Say, the NFL people think first, second, and third round picks. I'm looking at first round, I need a starter for 10 years.
Right.
Second round, I need a starter for 6 years.
Yeah.
Third round, I need a starter for 5 years.
Right.
That's how they view it through that prism.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I had to say, look, I'm going to give Jalen Milroe a dream scenario for NFL productive success, I'm going to send him to the team that has shown a blueprint of, I take a young, talented guy, I teach him how to play football at the NFL level, and then I put him in, and that's the Green Bay Packers.
Well, they do have a lot of money tied into Jordan Love right now, though.
They do.
Yeah.
But in the Packers formula,
that's the blueprint for this kid.
Yeah, in the Packers formula, if he sits for 2 or 3 years, does he become a better quarterback?
Well, and I'll just my comparison has been the one that Nick Saban said himself. All
right, Ray. Ray, thanks for the phone call.
Yeah, I've said Baltimore because of Lamar Jackson, who he's compared to all the time. And if you correct me if I'm wrong, but Lamar wasn't the starter right away either. He had to wait for a little bit, and not too long, but and they developed him. But I'm not saying Milroe shouldn't be drafted, though I probably wouldn't draft him. But
you would draft him. You would draft him late day 2.
Yeah, if I did, probably wouldn't draft him overall. But if I did, to me, it's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, and then develop him and try to continuously work with him. He'd be my third quarterback. And I would have, my QB coach all the time with him in the film room, working with him on mechanics and things of that nature. To me, he would be a guy that I wouldn't see playing in at least the first 2 years. And then I would maybe move him up by the third year if he'd progressed to the second string QB. And then if you have an established guy like a Lamar Jackson who stayed healthy and been productive, then you can start grooming him maybe when Lamar gets into his mid-30s. You know what I'm saying? But again, I wouldn't draft him.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll get back out to the phone lines. Justin is holding. We'll get to him, and we'll wrap up hour 1 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a couple of wrecks we're trying to clear. One on Charlie Patterson north of Oscar Patterson's a no injury. We had one in Morgan County, Union Hill near West Point. Had a vehicle hit a deer there. No injury reported in the vehicle. Officers, construction workers, and first responders are putting their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation. But did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That you paint your body, your car, and your dog your school colors? Maybe. But it means more than that. It means your alumni network includes the state, the country, and beyond. It means your school ring doubles as your resume. And yeah, you better believe it means more titles, like doctor, CEO, and your honor. Because this is the SEC. And here, it just means more. What does it mean to be part of the Southeastern Conference? That yours is the only conference with its own chant? Well, yes, but it means more than that. It means a study abroad program that might include reforestation in a mangrove swamp in Australia. It means finding your calling, your future spouse, your startup's co-founders, and of course, grilling tongs that play your fight song. This is the SEC, and here, it just means more.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
256-576-4977. That's how you can join the program. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Let's visit with Justin out of the break. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
Sir.
Yeah, everything that you guys are saying about Milroe is dead on spot accurate. And you guys know me. I'm a diehard Alabama fan, but I've said this many a times. And you take all the games that Nick Saban won as a head coach, all the national championships he won as a head coach. In my opinion, the fact that he went to a 4-team playoff with that guy playing quarterback for him is probably the greatest coaching feat he ever pulled off in his whole career.
Yeah, no doubt.
To me, that's the most amazing thing of all. The reason, and everybody, talking about Sheridan, they're glad Grubb's back. I'm glad Grubb's back too. I think he's just a better play caller than Sheridan, but people don't realize Nick Sheridan was handcuffed.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch Alabama's offense this past year, and you go back and watch Washington's offense, because Sheridan was on that staff, Alabama on offense this year, they ran something that they never ran at Washington. They didn't do that offense at Washington, and the reason that they did it is because they knew with the quarterback they had, this was the best chance they had to win a ball game because he couldn't run their offense.
That's right. And the biggest example, Justin, and I'm sure you remember it, is, and it's why they should have been up three scores at halftime in Knoxville, but Milroe couldn't check off. I mean, he tried, but they had to shelve it because he couldn't change the play at the line of scrimmage fast enough. I mean, it was a fact.
And the fact that he's even, and they finally wised up, and they're saying that he's going to be, possibly, I'm hearing now, a 3rd-round pick, and it may fall farther.
I think it will.
Yeah. Mel Kiper says, coming out of the Senior Bowl, in his words, the inconsistency we saw at Alabama, we see again down in Mobile. The talent's there, and the want is there. The desire is there. The love for the game is there. So I think for Jalen Milroe, it's about projecting. It's not what you see. It's not who you are. It's who you will be. And that's how you have to look at it with Jalen.
And Justin, I think, is kind of implying this, and I'm implying it as well. What they didn't say is coachability. I don't think he's coachable. That's my opinion.
Well, a guy that Alabama fans used to give hell all the time was Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, exactly.
Bill O'Brien, apparently on his assessment of Jalen Milroe was dead on accurate.
Thanks for the phone call there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had some words to say, didn't he?
Yeah, and then Milroe threw him under the bus and said, "It's when your coach says you suck, but you do."
That's hour one. We'll go over the rest of that list from The Athletic here, maybe later in the show. But when we come back, we're counting down. Oh, you know what? If you're camping outside at Auburn, you might want to get some Uncle Keith's red sauce.
Oh, I wonder. Bryan's got the hookup. Wonder if he's took it down there.
You think he could deliver that and some chips to the students?
I don't know. I'd ask for some.
That's a heck of a way to go.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. For a limited time, GBank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a GBank Visa signature card. Apply today at vsin.com/GBank.
14 straight wins now for the top-ranked Auburn Tigers as they smash Oklahoma 98-70 at home last night, covering as 16.5-point favorites. Auburn Tigers with the victory yesterday, their 14th straight. They are 20-1 and just ahead of Duke in the AP Top 25. South Alabama laying 6.5 at Coastal Carolina today. Troy a 1-point road dog at James Madison. North Alabama laying 5 at Austin Peay. Super Bowl 59 Sunday in New Orleans. The Kansas City Chiefs a 1-point or a 1.5-point favorite over the Philadelphia Eagles as money starts to show this week for Philadelphia. For more, go to VSIN.com.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. Their locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Hour two officially underway. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And let's give thanks to our good friends, SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. They're dedicated to providing care that improves lives. And if you need them, give them a call, please. 256-881-5151. You can experience the SportsMed difference. It's SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. Give them a call today, or you can visit them at sportsmedalabama.com. They are dedicated to providing care that improves lives. You're going to receive the highest quality of health care. They've got everything you need to compete with orthopedic care, all that good stuff. They're the official training providers of the Rocket City Trash Pandas and the UAH Chargers, which, by the way, they will go for a new school record for wins tomorrow night at Delta State. If they can get that win, very cool. It'll be 21 straight wins. And, of course, SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, they are along for the ride as well.
Yeah, there'd be some awesome school history there. But speaking of school history, Auburn's making it right now.
Woo! 14 straight.
They're 21-1. They're the number one team in the country. They just routed Oklahoma, beat them down. They got Florida coming into Neville Arena this weekend. We've already got people, camping out. We were asking about Uncle Keith's red sauce. We're going to ask about that. then we know who's going to join us as our first guest of the show.
He could hand deliver some Uncle Keith.
He didn't hand deliver it to us, but he mailed it to us.
He did mail it to us, but he could hand deliver some Uncle Keiths and chips to the students.
It's really good. And, of course, we're talking about since 2001 covering the Auburn Tigers.
Uncle Keiths and chips.
Yeah.
There you go. No, I just hit a button, so you're good.
I mean, we've been hearing echoes all week, so it didn't catch me off guard. But since 2001, covering the Auburn Tigers with auburnsports.com, part of the Rivals Network, that is Bryan Mathews. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Oh, we're going to get...
Can you hear me? There we go.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
I see him.
Got some feedback.
He's on the screen. I see him.
There he is.
There he is.
Yeah.
How y'all doing?
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness.
I feel like we're power. I feel like one of them superhero movies.
I feel like I'm in Tron.
All right, Bryan, you got us, buddy?
Yeah, I can hear you. How do I sound?
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
You know how it is, new studio, trying to figure out exactly which one it is to pot up.
Yeah. That's all right. We'll just keep hitting buttons. We'll eventually get them.
Hey, I'm here when y'all are ready.
If you hit them all, we got to. All right, Bryan, you got us?
I can hear y'all.
No.
Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me okay?
We're working on it.
We're working on it. Oh.
Here's the thing. You can hear him over on the stream, but it's not coming through the board.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
You might have to call Bailey and call the bat phone, see how he did it.
Yeah, we'll just get him up on the phones.
Oh, no.
Sorry about that, Bryan.
Oh, I see him on the screen.
Yeah, we see him.
So close.
We're still working on it.
Yeah, we're so far away.
This
show just went to.
Well, this reminds me of our first show last week. It basically, I'm sitting in the house. Yeah, we could see each other. We couldn't hear each other.
You would think, well, you know what? We're doing that tomorrow, by the way.
Uh-oh.
Just so everybody knows, we'll be doing it tomorrow and Friday as well.
Welcome back, Connor. Really? Yeah.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna have to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, John, you better be working on it all day, brother.
Well, I mean, I'll be on Comrec, so but I will be.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be like a live remote. It should be just fine.
We're working out the kinks.
All I know is that Bryan Mathews will join us via the old dinosaur, the telephone here in a minute. There he is. Oh, we can hear him, but we can't see him. Now, I am disappointed in this.
Sorry, Bryan. I hope you may have heard our introduction. We did a nice, awesome introduction.
We did.
We apologize for the technical difficulty. We moved into a new studio. We're still working out.
And it wasn't a rehearsed introduction, so we can't redo it because we can't remember what we said.
Bryan's known me for a long time, about 10 years. He knows I don't use notes.
We don't use notes. But I mean, we did say it's a perfect opportunity for you to take some Uncle Keith's red sauce and some chips down there to the students and let them enjoy.
And what better way to enjoy the Super Bowl on Sunday, right?
Well, Scott's already been.
Oh, that is so true. Yeah, no, that is. I've already been planning that.
Yeah,
that's mozzarella sticks, and that's my favorite right now. Is mozzarella sticks with Uncle Keith's.
There you go. So, well, hey, but another workman-like performance for Auburn. Great defensive performance. Jeremy Fears 1 for 8. Auburn shuts down. I think they hold the Sooners to 33% shooting. Only 7 made threes. This was another really good performance for Auburn. But the first thing I took out of it, though, is back-to-back really good offensive performances from Denver Jones.
Yeah, he played terrific, and you mentioned the player he shut down too. Fears, but that was his defensive assignment for most of the night. So he did a terrific job.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Auburn showed improvement. I think they kind of struggled a little bit. The winning. I mean, it's hard to say you're struggling when you're winning, but hadn't been able to put teams away, and they took care of business against the Oklahoma team that came in, winning 3 out of 4, and almost put 100 points on them. Shot incredible in the second half. Dominated inside with Janai and Chaney and Dillon. 11 block shots were the second most this season. You mentioned they held Oklahoma to the season worst, 33% from the floor. So that was a really good performance. And you feel like Auburn is playing its best basketball now, going into a big matchup against Florida on Saturday.
And it seems like this Auburn team, I mean, it's always somebody, and it seems like it's somebody different finding their groove each night. And I think that goes to what the team and what Bruce Pearl have talked about, that this team is a bond that they all want everybody to succeed so much that each and every night it's somebody different. Last night, Denver Jones breaks out of his whatever he was in and has a great shooting night. Last night it was Denver Jones. I mean, we've seen Chaney do it. We've seen
Chaney had a really
Chad
good night
Baker
last night,
Mazzara
too.
do it. I mean, we know Janai's going to do it. But last night, Denver Jones.
It was 4-4, including 3 of 3 3-pointers, 2 of 2 free throws. Perfect shooting night for Denver. Just 1 turnover and 4 assists. So really ran the floor really well. 5 players in double figures. And then I thought Chris Moore, if you're talking about guys that stepped up and did some things, had 6 points, which is a lot for him.
Yeah.
Had that big bucket right before halftime to give Auburn, I think it was a 10-point lead at the break. So yeah, just different guys all contributing. Miles Kelly had 9 points, but hit some good early threes to get Auburn going. Chad Baker Mazzara was really good until he got ejected or fouled out, I guess. And Janai was his usual self, although he didn't get his double-double. I think he had to. I think their plan was to pull him out of the lane defensively and make him have to guard. But he still did a great job. 15 points. 4 of 8 from the floor. Just another great all-around game from most of Auburn's players.
Well, and you make a great point about Chris Moore, though, too. We really don't talk about him a lot. He's a senior from West Memphis, Arkansas. And I got to give him credit. He could have left 2 years ago because he's never had a huge role within this team. But I think he's a favorite of Bruce Pearl's. I know he was recruited by Wes Flanagan. He's now on the Ole Miss staff. But, I mean, but he's always stayed and accepted his role. And even – whether that's, he got 16 minutes last night. There might be games he doesn't play or he only plays 5 minutes, but he's always accepted it. I think he understands, look, I'm not going to be an NBA player, but I can be a part of a very special group of guys. And, to be great and to be a great team, it takes guys like that are selfless.
It does. And he's always been a really good leader, really dependable guy, a guy that his teammates look up to. And for me, his playing has just been about confidence. He's always had some skill. It's not like he's not a skilled player.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he's lacked confidence. And when he's playing with confidence, as he was there at the end of the first half, he was able to drive in and get a nice bucket. Against pretty big dudes in there. So when he plays like that, Auburn is a much better team. Auburn needs an 8th and 9th guy to come in there and give them really good minutes.
You look at the start and you look at last night's game, and as good as Auburn has played this year and as many points as they scored, it's hard to believe that last night was the first back-to-back 90-point performances for this Auburn team this season in consecutive SEC games, I should say.
Yeah, but they are starting to turn it up, I guess. And, Bruce Pearl, even after this game, says we're going to lose multiple games, et cetera, et cetera. And I think in a way he's saying that because he wants this team to face a little bit more adversity so he can coach them a little bit harder, right? And get that little extra out of them. But it hasn't happened. It may happen, I guess, against Florida. But right now, the team seems like they're playing really, really good right now. And as y'all mentioned, just different players stepping up different nights to get the job done, or maybe one guy in the first half, the other guy in the second half of the team is just playing really good ball.
Well, and then we haven't spoken with you since that performance on Saturday, where they got the big win, on the road at Ole Miss. But and then he was really good again last night. But another guy that's always been comfortable with his role. He knows he's not a scorer. He's almost like the best way for me to describe it. When Patrick Ewing had Charles Oakley, because that's when the NBA was watchable. But Dylan Cardwell and the way he compliments Jonai Broome.
Yeah. really, and Dylan's playing his best ball right now. Right, he's finishing better around the rim now. I think he had a career high block shot against Oklahoma. He's got 2 double doubles in the last several weeks, the first 2 of his career. So he is just the guy that stuck it out, gotten better step by step, little steps every year, and now he's become a really, really important player on both ends of the court, and a guy who we still talk a lot about being able to defend all 5 positions.
Well, Tahad Pettiford has only played in 22 career ball games, and he's found a way to score in double figures in 13 of those 22. Safe to say, I think they got that one right.
Yeah, he's been special, and I think he's a really important reason that Auburn's good this season because when he was signed, they thought he'd be a 2 guard. They thought that they would bring in the kid from Furman to JJ Teguise to be the starter or the other point guard, and Pettiford has really stepped in and taken that position over and been Auburn's best 2-point shooter, one of Auburn's best playmakers, assist guys, smart plugs off the bench. He seems to do it just about every night, and he does it, to his best against the best of teams that Auburn faces. So he's a special player. Auburn's really fortunate to have him, and I think he's going to be around for another year or 2. We'll see, but I think there's a good chance he's going to be a special player for Auburn this year and at least next.
Well, he'll make you forget the guy that wore that number the last couple of years. I can tell you that with his consistent play. He's a tremendous, one of the best freshman guards in the country, in my opinion. He's been, and the cool part about it is he's done it mainly being the 6th man. Like some guys want to start, it's all about that. But, my old high school coach would tell you it's not about who starts, it's who finishes. And he finishes on the floor quite a bit. Bruce Pearl trusts him with his decision-making and his ability. I kind of call him the closer at times because he always seems to make plays, whether it's setting up a teammate or he's certainly not afraid to take a big shot, Bryan.
No, he's not. And when you say closer, he does a lot of his best work in the second half and late in the game. So you're absolutely right. He has that fearless attitude. He wants the ball at pressure-type situations and has no problem taking that big shot or driving in and making a play. And, most of the time it's successful too. So, he's a special player. And, Pearl signed some really good freshmen. He's one of that.
He is one of the best. What about this matchup in Florida now? To me, though, Walter Clayton's availability is a huge part of this.
It is. I think Florida's strength is their guard play and the depth there and how athletic and physical they can be. They've got some size that's going to match up better against, Janai and Dylan and those guys inside, which Oklahoma really lacks. But when those guards are banged up in Florida, they're not as good. Vanderbilt played them really well. I thought the last night, in Gainesville. So this is going to be a game that's going to be, I think, a really tough, fight and scrap. I think it'll be much more physical than it was last night. But, not having one of their top guards definitely hurts them because that's their strength in my opinion.
You look at the quad 1 wins, and Auburn continues to rack up the quad 1 wins. Saturday would be another one. Bryan, at the beginning of the year, we knew this Auburn team would be special. But, I mean, it is hard to imagine that even Bruce Pearl thought this start of the season would be possible.
I didn't, that's for sure. I mean, I thought they'd be good, but I didn't know they'd be this good. And the thing is, the SEC is so good right now. They're talking about it being one of the best conferences, in the last 20 or 30 years. And Auburn right now is undefeated halfway through conference play. So that's pretty amazing. It doesn't mean they're going to, run it the second half, but they're playing a terrific basketball. And they don't seem to be letting it get to their head, being the number 1 team in the country, and all the good things being said about them. They go out there and compete every night so far.
They do, and the thing is, with this Auburn team, I thought going in that Auburn was definitely on the short list of a chance to win the SEC championship, but I also thought that 14-4, with as brutal as this league is, would win the league. And that still may be the case, but Auburn's been so good. They're already 5-0 on the road. That's shrinking. It could be a 15-3, 16-2 type deal, maybe.
I agree with you. I thought 14-4 was going to be good enough, back a few weeks ago. But the way Auburn's playing, the way Alabama's playing, it sure does seem to me like the two schools are kind of on a collision course to settle this regular season championship. And the two games they're going to play each other. I just think it's going to be hard I know Missouri only has 2 losses, but they've got a tough second half of the schedule, and they're a great story, going winless in the league last year. Florida and Texas A&M only have 3 losses, so their margin of error is really short. Florida, make it their 4th loss Saturday. We'll see. But yeah, I really like the chances for Auburn and/or Alabama to finish the top of this league, or maybe even tied at the top of the league.
That's crazy. That's just. We talked about it in the preseason. We talked about it at the SEC basketball media, how good basketball will be in the state. And again, to have Alabama and Auburn and to have them play here in the next week and then turn around and play again to end the regular season in Auburn, in the regular season, in what could be for the conference championship regular season title. Bryan, they're going to be
top of 10.
Yeah, they're camping out now for the Florida game. They may be camping out for a month before that game.
And the thing is, in my musings Saturday, I tried to go back and look, what are the biggest games in college basketball history, and Auburn and Alabama haven't played those games. You got to go back to UAB playing to go to the Final Four back in, I think it was 82. And then go back to some of those NCAA regional games and BJCC back in the day. So this is completely unprecedented for these two programs to both be this good at one time and to be playing for such high stakes. But here we are. They're playing for the SEC championship. They'll be playing for number 1 seed. Maybe both teams will get it anyway. They're playing, for a lot, and they're both, I feel like, going to be favorites to make runs once we get to March.
No question. Well, they certainly Auburn has well earned the number 1 team in the country, and they will be back at Neville Arena on Saturday afternoon against the Florida Gators and Todd Golden, who are ranked in the top 6 themselves. But again, this league is so tough. The Gators coming in, and we'll see if they're completely healthy. If they have Walter Clayton back, that's going to be big. Well, Bryan, let everybody know how to follow you and follow your work, and we always appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate you. And check us out, auburnsports.com. We'll have tons of coverage on basketball, any recruiting stuff. It's a dead period, but there's still recruiting going on. And, of course, baseball starts a week from Friday. Softball starts this weekend. So all that more, auburnsports.com. You can follow me on socials, BMAT.AU, and, of course, you can mention them on Monday Musings, Lipsoft, available public, Piggly Wiggly, Winpro, statewide. You can use BMAT15 to get 15% off your online order.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Bryan Mathews joining us.
Yep.
Thank you for hanging in there with us. We will get this Zoom figured out at some point.
Well, it's crazy. And we got to get it done because, we got a lot of guests that we want to put on Zoom. Let's get a break in. It's 8:21 on a Wednesday morning. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Picked up a new wreck in Priceville in Morgan County, 67 and Upper River Road. Haven't heard a call for an ambulance there, so apparently no injury. Got one Charlie Patterson north of Oscar Patterson. Should have a trooper on the scene of that one. They had a field fire or a woods fire indicator behind Blossomwood Apartments on the Beltline. Still may have some fire equipment in that area. You could lose up to 4 sizes in 4 weeks with the 2030 Fast Track Weight Loss Program. Find out more at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
The Drive.
Both those guys have done a good job in what we've asked them to do. And both of them have developed nicely, and both of them have consistently made plays.
Wes and Steve.
Their decision-making, their judgment, their ability not to force things and take what the defense gives, distribute the ball with good decision-making, down in, down out, is probably the only thing that's going to be any different about them because it's not physical ability or talent. So it's intangibles, leadership, decision-making, judgment, and all those types of things. And both guys have done a good job in that regard as well.
Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton each weekday afternoon starting at 5. We are your home of ESPN Radio, 97.7 The Zone.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio and have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
Wednesday morning, Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome back to the program. 256-576-4977. You can join us. Coming up here at the bottom of the hour, Alex Sarborough will join us. We'll check in on the Alabama Crimson Tide. They don't have a game today or tomorrow, or they don't have one yesterday. They get to enjoy that week of having just practice. And I'll tell you what, when you talk to coaches at this point and you talk to the players, even on the UAH side, this week, this type of week is awesome for them because they love to get back into the gym. They love to get back to a practice schedule. They love to get back to actually practicing and working on things and doing things. They actually enjoy that. And for Alabama, that's what they get to do. So we'll check in with Alex Sarborough. Let's get to Brandon on the phone lines. Good morning, Brandon.
Too early in the year for a Moron of the Year nomination.
Well, Jeff's leading the way.
Yeah, Jeff always leads the way.
Yes, that's a yes.
Well, that I watched it, but I happened to see it yesterday after I was on the show with you guys. I don't know what's wrong with Kanye and his woman, but you go to an award show butt naked.
Yeah,
I mean, really?
Yeah.
Would you rather do that or be Will Smith's kid and wear a house on your head?
Oh my Lord! I saw the house hat. How are you wearing a house on your head?
We talked about camping out. Would you wear a house hat?
Oh no! Unless you're gonna pay me like $100,000.
That's it. That's the going rate for you to wear a hat on or a house on your head is only $100,000.
I mean, come on, out for like 15 minutes.
Oh no, I think you can live down wearing a house hat, but basically turning around and taking your fur coat off and being butt naked, I don't really know.
I didn't even know who she was or whatever. I just like, what in the heck is this? Yeesh.
I didn't know who Yee was. Is that your name now?
That's her, I guess. That's what I saw. I was like, who the hell is this?
Say some crazy, wild, jacked up stuff, but that might be closer to the top of the pile.
Right.
They say, they say she's not going to face any fines or violations or whatever for the dress code or whatever. That it's. I mean, they're.
It was in California, right?
Probably so.
Yeah.
They've been doing that stunt for quite some time now. It's kind of his thing.
Yeah. Jeez.
Oh, so this has happened more than once.
I don't know.
Yes, it has. There's pictures all over the place.
Oh, okay. I guess normal people like myself don't see such on a daily basis, so it's slightly outrageous stuff.
Yeah, we don't usually walk into the studio half naked.
No, we don't walk in. I said naked this
Naked.
morning.
You said naked.
I thought the Luka Doncic trade was going to be the wildest thing from the weekend. No,
What trade? What? I had not seen that. What trade? Was
Yeah.
there a trade in the NBA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ladon wasn't traded?
You know what would be a good trade?
What?
Is if the Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers for
Yeah,
Anthony
yeah.
Davis. That would
In the
be a
middle of the
trade now.
yeah, we do it in the middle of a game.
Yeah.
That would be a trade. That might get the attention of the national media.
Maybe.
Well, that's on more than words can say. That's
Yeah.
the lyrics in it.
Well, and Brandon, we were keeping up with the scores, Brandon. We got it, and we do give a shout out to Spring Garden for the ladies advancing to the sub regional, and it looks like they will take on our friends from Oakwood here in Huntsville. It was a competitive game pretty much. They lost to Eider 71-56, I think is the score that I saw.
I think it's the closest score they've had. They've faced each other this year.
Yeah.
And, so we'll see that. And then I guess they would see Eider in the round of 16.
Well, I would think they would still be on opposite ends of the bracket, but we'll see.
I wasn't sure.
We'll see. Now you bring up a point though. Like if it looks like it was the crossover, so if Eider had been upset, they would have had to come to Spring Garden. So
Yes. So we're sitting here at the game Monday, and at the end of the first quarter, it's 40-0.
Yeah, we saw the
People
picture.
looking at each, and I said, it's apparent that these girls chose violence today.
And overcame a car accident.
Yes, yes. I just the level of this razor focus for those girls is stunning to me. I've never been to a high school basketball game that far into the playoffs and seen a 40-0 score anywhere I have ever been.
No,
in all my life.
It's not something.
And I was like, I looked at Olivia Law's mother and I was like, so y'all chose violence today? And she's just giggling. And I said, I don't know how else to describe it.
Right.
It's absolutely mind blowing. Going over there this weekend, the car is going to be jammed with people. The number of people that continue to want to go watch these games with me just continues to grow. My wife's actually happy that it's not going to be during the week, so she can go.
Nice.
And
there you go.
Nice.
I need Scott to be there to do an in-game interview.
An in-game.
Really like that a lot.
Well, I can't.
Going to be in Mississippi.
Clinton, Mississippi on Saturday.
Yeah. Inside a golf ball.
Inside a golf ball that is the most echoiest building I've ever been in.
Yeah. We had that echo yesterday as we started the show.
Yes.
Well, see, if we'd have played Eider, we would have been able to play it on Friday night.
Oh, I know. That would have been epic. Would have loved to have done that.
Yeah. But maybe there's hope for coming to Jacksonville. Y'all hadn't seen Coach Studeman in a while, have you?
Coach Studeman, no.
We have not.
A good reason to go check in on her for that game if we can get y'all down there. So
that's right.
And you guys were talking earlier about Milroe.
Yes.
I feel like he's got some Tebow to him, but I wonder how much of what goes on with him I lay at the feet of his parents. If you have ever been around his dad and seen the show that he puts on, trying to fight people at away, been trying to fight people at Vanderbilt, trying to fight people at USF. I wonder if some of the stuff he does on the field isn't a direct result of what's being put in his ear at home.
That's a good point. And that's a good segue to our next
guest. Thanks for that phone call, Brandon. And you've talked a lot about
stuff.
that. You've talked about Jalen Milroe's dad.
Yeah.
And anytime that there's something, his dad's not afraid to get in front of the camera and talk a lot about things.
Yeah.
It's going to break in. Alex Sarborough will fill us in on that and what lies ahead for Alabama basketball.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Not a bad Wednesday across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. We are going to be talking about a mostly cloudy to overcast sky, but temperatures are still going to be on the warmer end of the spectrum. We're climbing into the mid and upper 60s. A couple of folks probably going to climb into the lower 70s. There is an opportunity for some scattered showers through a good chunk of the afternoon. We might even throw in the opportunity for a couple of thunderstorms across the Tennessee Valley. None of the thunderstorm activity would be severe. Definitely a little bit of good news there. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Picked up a new wreck in Priceville in Morgan County, 67 and Upper River Road. Haven't heard a call for an ambulance there, so apparently a no injury. Got one Charlie Patterson north of Oscar Patterson. Should have a trooper on the scene of that one. And they had a field fire or a woods fire in Decatur behind Blossomwood Apartments on the Beltline. Still may have some fire equipment in that area. You could lose up to 4 sizes in 4 weeks with the 2030 Fast Track Weight Loss Program. Find out more at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Super Bowl 59 is on Westwood One.
The Eagles are headed to New Orleans. Now the Chiefs are on the doorstep of history, going for a 3rd consecutive Super Bowl.
Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Grant. Join Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner, Laura Oakman, Gene Steratore, Devin McCourty, and me for all the action right here.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan, the right people to do your loan? Look no further in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us online at bankofFrankEwing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green, where they take the home loan to you and they make it all about you. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDI insured bank, as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
We aren't a winning school. We are a championship school, and we make legends. Join the Crimson Tide as they look to continue to rise to the top of the NCAA basketball mountain. Every game, all season, right here on your home for Alabama basketball. The Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Leading the way for sports talk in North Alabama.
Winning is the only thing that matters.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, I say yes.
97.7 The Zone.
What's happening? We're back. It's 8:36. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We've been talking a lot about college basketball. We threw in some college football conversation. And a lot of people were calling in and weighing in on our thoughts or the Jalen Milroe topic of conversation. But a lot of that stemmed from the fact that we were talking about Alabama football going forward and how good of a year they have because of the potential starters. We've been talking about that. That bled into Jalen Milroe. But not to be outdone is the fact that the 4th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, they are off until Saturday, when they will be back on the hardwood as they continue yet another run. And I know we just talked to Brian Mathews, and we said how big that into the season game with Alabama and Auburn could be, because it could be for the SEC championship. Think about this, though. That last game of the season between Alabama and Auburn not only could be for the SEC championship, but could be for the overall number 1 seed in the NCAA basketball tournament.
Yeah. I mean, there's the stakes could be extremely high. Both of them. Now they both have to hold serve. I mean,
no, they do. There's a lot of work.
You know, they both have a couple of games to play, before they see each other on February the 15th, and that'll be the first one. Alabama, of course, is going to be on the road twice, as they are going to take on Arkansas and then Texas. So that's going to be a couple of interesting road tests, especially if Arkansas wins at Texas tonight. It'll completely change the dynamic there. But speaking of dynamics, we had some big news, in the last few days, Alabama football wise. It seems like we were asked on the show every day about Ryan Grubb. We were on Ryan Grubb watch. What's going to happen? Is he coming back to the staff? It was drawn out. I thought he was going to try to stay in the NFL. I think he wanted to. But he's back at the University of Alabama, and we're going to discuss that and more. He's with Bama 24/7. He does a great job covering the University of Alabama, especially the football program. He gets great insight. The stories he writes are really kind of the most unique, in my opinion, with the angle that he brings you. He's been a very busy guy, but he's carved out some time this morning to talk about Ryan Grubb coming back to the University of Alabama, and that's Alex Sarborough, and he's going to join us live on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Alex, good morning.
Good morning. You talked about, just to jump right in, you talked about how we were waiting on the Grubb thing. I'll admit an unforced error in the story that I wrote when I was able to confirm. I've been sitting on that story so long that in there I talked about Sheridan and DeBoer at the Falcons game on Sunday, not realizing that was a month ago.
Wow.
I'd had that story for so many weeks just waiting. I'm like, hey, this is going to pop off. And had to go in and fix that. But, those things happen.
Yeah.
Alex, why?
Put the date in there now.
I mean, this was a move that I think a lot of people thought would happen.
Right. Just tell.
But why did it take so long to happen?
Right.
Oh, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know. Probably two things are happening. One is Ryan Grubb reeling a little bit from, you get fired. It's tough. This is the first time in his career I think it's ever happened. They did not have a bad season.
No,
you look at the offensive numbers that they put up, especially in the passing game, and all due respect to Geno Smith, he's Geno Smith, and they still were able to move the football. So it was a philosophical difference, I think, more than anything that led to it. So I think there's processing, but I think more cynically than that is processing and figuring out, is there going to be another opportunity at this level if I want another crack at it? And I was down in Mobile with some reporters, and we talked to Kalen DeBoer at the Senior Bowl, and he basically said that, look, I'm giving him the space to figure out what he wants to do next. And I think inherent in that is saying, is there going to be another opportunity for me? If he knew right off the bat, I want to be Alabama's offense coordinator, I want to go right back to Kalen DeBoer, it would have taken 10 seconds. He would have asked Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer would have said yes. He would have been in Tuscaloosa. So that's not a knock. I think some people might interpret it that way. But look, if you can be an offensive coordinator in the NFL, it's a pretty good gig. You make really good money. You don't have to be on the road recruiting all the time. That's why you see guys like Chip Kelly go right back. So it took a little bit longer than maybe some people wanted, but I think Alabama ended up in a very good place.
Absolutely. And now, of course, that brings the other side of the coin. The staff very well. Nick Sheridan. I know it's been announced that he would stay on the staff. What do you envision Nick Sheridan's role being going forward?
I honestly don't know. So I think there's part of me that wonders if they just do what they had originally planned all along, which, if you remember, a year ago and some change at this time, they were both, Ryan Grubb and Nick Sheridan were both on campus. Ryan Grubb was going to be the offense coordinator and quarterbacks coach, and Nick Sheridan was going to coach tight end. I think that's still a possibility because of the way you can kind of have unlimited coaches now.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to fire somebody. You can double up at a position. You can move some people around. The wrinkle in it to me is, how much do you want Nick Sheridan's inherent knowledge with the quarterbacks who are on campus? He was with Ty all year long, got to coach him, got to see him in practice. Same goes with Austin Mack. He knows how those guys have developed over the past year. And, oh, by the way, Sheridan was instrumental in the recruiting of five-star quarterback Keelan Russell, who's now on campus. When I talked to Keelan, he raved about his relationship with him. So do you want to have that continuity there, or do you think, like a lot of coaches think, that you want your offensive coordinator working directly with your quarterbacks all the time? Again, there are ways to manipulate this. Now, you can still have Sheridan as the quarterback's coach and Grubb still be in on every quarterback meeting. He can kind of do what I think is going to happen on the defensive side, where Kane Womack is defensive coordinator, and he's kind of just overseeing everything as opposed to coaching a certain position. I'm very interested to see what direction they go with this, because I think there are arguments to be made on both sides.
Yeah, because, I mean, this move, I mean, at first it's like, okay, there is no room for Ryan Grubb. There's no offensive coordinator opening. So what are you going to do? And it's an interesting move that you bring him back with no offensive coordinator position, but Kalen DeBoer feels really comfortable, I guess, with Ryan Grubb by his side.
And plus, and plus, Alex, as far as I know, you can confirm this. I believe Nick Sheridan's got a 3-year contract, and he's making $1.45 million.
Yeah, that's why I'm very curious to see, and we'll find out in one form or fashion how much they're paying Ryan Grubb.
Right.
You can if you're Greg Byrne, I guess, but it's hard to be Greg Byrne and go out and say, we don't have enough money, we're not the Vatican, and then pay $1.5 million for a position coach. Kind of a tough look.
Yeah.
But we don't know how much the Seahawks are continuing to pay Ryan Grubb.
Right.
So it would not surprise me if Nick Sheridan is making considerably more from the University of Alabama than Ryan Grubb is for a year or two, or for whenever that contract runs out. So it's a weird dynamic, but the buyout piece of it could be really interesting to see what that looks like. And we'll know when the Board of Trustees approves that contract for Ryan Grubb, whenever that happens.
So now Alabama fans want to know, is Scott Huff coming? Because he's out of a job now too. Is he coming?
Again, because there are unlimited coaching positions. The only real thing you have to think about if you're a fan, the distinction between, what we used to call assistant coaches and analysts, that line is blurred. It's basically count to 11. Those are 11 guys can go on the road recruiting, and they can even change that from time to time. So
right.
There's no real difference. You can have, if you wanted to, and if Greg Byrne said, okay, I can, if you want to bring one more guy in and pay for him, you could bring in Huff, and you could even split. I remember when Billy got to Florida, he had 2 offensive line coaches, and everybody thought it was the weirdest thing in the world. But he kind of manipulated it where he had an analyst coaching the quarterbacks a little bit. So there are ways to do it. The one thing I'd caution people connecting those dots with Huff like they did with Grubb, there's not the same history there.
Yes.
Huff was a Washington guy. He was not a guy with him at Fresno State, Eastern Illinois. That track record's not there. That doesn't mean that DeBoer doesn't like him and doesn't think the world of him. He coached a Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. Maybe he does want him there, but I don't think it's as much of a slam dunk as Ryan Grubb was because of the relationship and the history.
And I think even though he was only with him for this season, that Coach Cap has done a nice job. I thought the group improved, plus the recruiting aspect has been really good.
Yes, you've got a really good offensive line class. Michael Carroll has a chance, I think, to play early. Micah DeBose is a guy who I'm very curious to see how he develops. You don't really want to mess with that if you don't have to. And I think you're right. They were not great as an offensive line, but what you have to remember is Caden Proctor was basically playing with one hand behind his back all season. Jaden Roberts was injured a whole lot. And your right tackle position was because you did not know what you were going to get from Elijah Pritchett from not just game to game, but from series to series. So if you can sort of get guys healthy, solidify that right tackle position, I think Wilkin Formby has a chance to be good if he can take that next step in his development. I think that line will look even better. And I do think the change at quarterback and how that position operates could make, just overnight, make them a little bit better, because it's a little bit more I don't know, traditional's the way to put it, but it's a simpler job for an offensive line when you don't have a quarterback scrambling around all the time.
Well, and Scott and I talked about it earlier in the show. You mentioned being down in Mobile. I will get your overall impressions of the buzz you heard, and what kind of week was it? It seemed to be a struggle one for Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, he kind of regrouped a little bit at the end, but he is what he is. I think it reinforces what every Alabama fan has seen and sort of, in my mind, takes a little bit of the heat off of Nick Sheridan, too, that, like, look, it's not just the Alabama offense where he has issues. This is a guy who can look like Superman when things are exactly the way he needs them to be. When they're off, he really struggles, and it's the antsy foot. It's the bad footwork. It's the sometimes inaccuracies, and just kind of, which is a result of the footwork. He's a project, and I think there are going to be some teams that fall in love with the measurables, fall in love with the leadership aspect, I think, as well. I don't think that's to be discounted. But they're going to fall in love with a guy who's probably going to run 4.3, 4.4, 4.5 at the quarterback position, is really strong. But I don't think he's a first-round pick at this point, especially given what we saw at the Senior Bowl. Maybe he just blows people away at the Combine. Maybe he just tears apart his pro day. But he struggled in a moment where everybody was watching. And, the Senior Bowl is a difficult circumstance. You're playing with guys you don't know. But he had moments where you just kind of looked at it and said, man, he's going to have a hard time explaining that to a GM.
Yeah, because a lot of what we saw at the Senior Bowl, we saw it instances during his Alabama tenure.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's, I don't want to dunk on the guy because I think he performed well in moments, and I think him simply staying at Alabama calmed the waters in a huge way that I don't think we'll ever fully understand, because I think if he leaves, the floodgates are open, and, the transfer portal could be even worse for Alabama. But at the end of the day, he's a limited quarterback. He's a quarterback who Alabama's offense had to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink as they went through the season. And even then, you had a moment like LSU where you look like a superstar, and then you have a moment like Oklahoma and Michigan where it's just like, what in the heck is happening? I'm curious if there's a team in the NFL that's going to look at him and say, maybe we can do two things at once, where if we can convince him to play a different position for a year or two while developing a quarterback, do the Taysom Hill kind of thing, that might be a path for him to sneak up a draft board, because he does have those skills that you say, if I can just get one or two of these other things to work, he can be really effective for us.
And then, Alex, as we wrap it up, I wanted to circle back because I know you talked to some people about the dynamic between Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb. Talk about that dynamic, and I think that's a big reason why he's back, the chemistry between the two men. Yeah,
this is a friendship. This is really closer than most coaches you're going to find. I went back to a conversation I had with Jeff Tedford at Fresno State, and the idea that he was calling Kalen DeBoer, who was then the offensive coordinator at Eastern Michigan, not a very good team. Kalen DeBoer is only 2 years into an FBS career, really unknown, and he's talking to the two-time Pac-12 two-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year in Tedford, and he's going to be the offense coordinator. I said, well, who do you think for offensive line? And Tedford had a guy, but he wanted to hear him out. And, DeBoer pitched Grubb to Tedford and got Tedford to hire him. He took Grubb everywhere he went for a reason. And I talked to Eastern Michigan coach Chris Creighton, and he said, look, these guys speak the same language. They finish each other's sentences. They're both really smart, really good coaches who the relationship works at just a different level. And I think when you're Kalen DeBoer and you're going into a very pivotal year two, we all know that he's going to be turned way up. You want the guy you trust the most by you. And that's not a knock on Nick Sheridan. That's just acknowledging that Ryan Grubb and him think in the same way. So when the bullets are flying, they don't have to have a big, long conversation. They know exactly what the other person wants to do. So if you're going to go into a year like this and you really got to prove it, it helps to have a guy you really trust in that offensive coordinator position, and a guy, oh, by the way, who has one hell of a resume. There's a reason not very many offensive coordinators go from OC in college to OC in the NFL. There's something there that people really like, and I'm very curious if they can get the Washington offense at Alabama. That's what Greg Byrne went to Seattle to do. He went to go hire that offense. If they can get that offense going at Alabama, they're going to be very successful.
Great stuff.
Wow.
We really appreciate it,
Yes.
Alex. Let everybody know how to follow you, man, and we'll catch up soon, but we always love having you on.
Yeah, you can go to Bama247.com. I know it's kind of signing day today, so people can still consume that.
That's right, it is.
With Brett Greenberg, but it's, Mike Rodak and Cody Goodwin and Kirk Nair, along with myself, do a really good job covering the team. I think we got a special going on, 60% off. Go take advantage. We got something every day, so go check it out.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, see. Ty Haywood, the former Alabama commit, he just took the money to Michigan. I don't think Alabama or Auburn signed anybody today, man.
No, but there are several local high school guys, local athletes in North Alabama signing their letters. They're not letters of intent anymore, whatever they want to call them these days.
Khalil Green, former Madison Academy Mustang, he's going to Carson Newman.
Tim Coleman, James Clemens, UVA Wise.
Oh yeah, that's long snapper Tim Coleman, and then TJ Cole is going to go to East Mississippi. So shout out to all those kids.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them going on. If you're signing, congratulations today as well. Let's get that break in. We'll wrap it all up next.
Yeah, Tim Coleman, yeah.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Picked up a new wreck in Priceville in Morgan County, 67 and Upper River Road. Haven't heard a call for an ambulance there, so apparently a no injury. Got one Charlie Patterson north of Oscar Patterson. Should have a trooper on the scene of that one. They had a field fire or a woods fire in Decatur behind Blossomwood Apartments on the Beltline. Still may have some fire equipment in that area. You could lose up to 4 sizes in 4 weeks with the 2030 Fast Track Weight Loss Program. Find out more at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com.
Wow, we didn't have much time left. Sounds like Kevin Durant in Phoenix.
We got to get Bailey used to shorten that break for us.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
We did.
All right. We got to get 24-hour recess in. That was fun today.
It was.
I learned that you would not camp out for a basketball game.
Unless I can take a shower. Go home, take a shower, come back.
But that's interesting, though, that they already started camping out for the Auburn-Florida game after last night's game down on the plains.
Man.
Already camping out.
Big one, no doubt about it. My ass felt better today.
Well, that's good. Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan, the right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us